This week wasn't about speaking, it was about hearing. Not hearing in the usual way. Not ears, not words, but through presence, through the subtler language the simulation speaks. Vibration, rhythm, timing, sensation, intuition. Because the field is always communicating, the question isn't whether it speaks, it's whether you're still enough to listen. Week 27 was the art of receptivity, of sensing before acting, hearing before replying, and understanding before assuming. It reminded us that awareness itself is creative, that silence isn't empty, that listening is participation. Let's walk through how that unfolded. Buddhist reflection. When the heart is still, truth whispers. Psalm 46:10. Be still, and know that I am God. The field never stops speaking, through people, timing, coincidences, even the silence between events. But most people drown it out with constant noise, endless talking, reacting, scrolling, analyzing. Science confirms what mystics always knew. When the brain quiets, mirror neuron and empathy networks light up. When external chatter drops, perception expands. In the simulation, stillness is signal reception. On Monday, we practiced listening without agenda. Not listening to reply, listening to feel. You might have noticed the way someone's tone shifted mid-sentence, or how a pause carried more meaning than their words. You may have sensed an atmosphere change as you entered a room. Tension dissolving, curiosity awakening, energy retuning. That's the field talking. When the heart is still, truth whispers. The more still you become, the louder it speaks. Jesus said, "He who has ears, let him hear." The Quran teaches, "We will show them our signs on the horizons and within themselves until it becomes clear to them." Words carry sound, truth carries frequency. You can't hear frequency with logic, only with presence. Science reminds us that less than 10% of communication is the literal words. The rest is tone, rhythm, expression, energy. Every conversation has two layers, what's said and what's meant. The first is language. The second is vibration. On Tuesday, we tuned to that second layer. We listened to what vibrated beneath sentences. A friend saying, "I'm fine," while their voice trembled. A colleague insisting no problem though their shoulder said otherwise. Even a loved one's silence that felt heavier than 1,000 words. In the simulation, truth is embedded in frequency. Once you start hearing it, deception becomes transparent. You stop reacting to appearances and start feeling reality. Listening beyond words turns everyday noise into symphony. It's how you read the field instead of the script. The sage observes without judgment. That's from a Taoist text. And, the light of the body is the eye. If your eye is single, your whole body is full of light. That's from Matthew chapter 6 verse 22. Attention is energy. Where you place it, reality amplifies. Most people scatter it, half on a screen, half on thought, half on worry, and somehow still tired. Fragmented attention produces fragmented life. Science shows focused attention reorganizes neural networks, sharpens perception, and even changes physiology. In meditation labs, subjects who sustain still attention alter brainwave patterns, shifting from chaotic beta to coherent alpha and theta states. Coherence equals creation. In the simulation, attention isn't observation, it's participation. Whatever you truly behold begins to shift toward order. On Wednesday we practice still attention. Not staring, not forcing, simply resting awareness on one thing. A breath, a sound, a tree, a task. We noticed how reality seemed to slow down, colors sharpened, thoughts lost urgency, moments expanded. When attention stops chasing, the field aligns around it. Still attention is silent influence. Pascal wrote, "The heart has its reasons which reason does not know." The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Consult your heart, even if people give you opinions. Intuition isn't mystical luck, it's the body's data stream." Subtle, fast, ancient. Before the mind decides, the body already knows. Science supports this. The heart and gut send more signals upward to the brain than the brain sends downward. Your nervous system gathers patterns long before you can articulate them. When you feel a gut instinct, it's pattern recognition operating faster than language. But society trains us to distrust that knowing. We outsource clarity to algorithms, experts, consensus, and lose contact with the internal compass. In the simulation, intuition is your internal field translator. It decodes signals logic can't. And when you act from it, synchronicity follows. On Thursday, we practiced trusting one quiet nudge, making a call, postponing a task, taking a new route, resting instead of pushing. Small experiments in intuition build larger faith. Every time you honor the subtle pull, the field answers louder next time. Ignore it repeatedly, and it stops speaking. Not in punishment, but in respect for your free will. The wise learn to listen before logic intervenes. Sufi wisdom says, "He who knows himself knows his Lord," and a Zen teaching, to know reality, see clearly, and act rightly. Observation is creative. What you look at changes under the gaze. Quantum physics proved this in labs. Consciousness altered subatomic outcomes. Psychology proved it again. Alampai, people improve behavior when simply observed. Attention transforms what it touches. In the simulation, awareness itself is a shaping force. When you truly see something, not glance, but witness, it begins to reorder. On Friday, we practiced noticing something we'd been ignoring. A tension in the body, a neglected relationship, an avoided thought. We didn't try to fix it, just observed with gentle awareness. And often, that alone softened the resistance. Because the field doesn't need constant fixing, it needs awareness. Awareness restores equilibrium. The more conscious you become of your environment, emotions, and inner dialogue, more xiao hours dao hour. Ein Bancher the Albano the more synchrony appears around you. Doors open, coincidences multiply. Reality starts to behave as though it knows you're watching. One, bodyboard file one. Because it does. Week 27 was the transition from expression to perception, from speaking to listening, from doing to sensing, from control to communion. You learned that the field is always speaking, stillness lets you hear, words are surface, vibration carries truth, still attention reshapes chaos into clarity. Intuition is not guesswork, but embodied intelligence. Awareness itself transforms reality. You began to listen, not only with ears, but with energy, to notice tone more than sentence, to feel alignment more than argument, to realize that life, people, and circumstances constantly broadcast signals about where you stand in the simulation. When you stop trying to dominate reality and begin to listen to it, you enter partnership with the field. It starts to guide you, softly, precisely, unmistakably, because the universe doesn't shout, it whispers, and the ones who hear the whisper shape worlds. Listening is the new form of power. Stillness is the new form of intelligence. Receptivity is the new leadership. This week was about cultivating that listening, because everything you need to know is already being said, you just had to become quiet enough to hear it. This is transcendent reality. Live the code.